Hello there. For those of you new to the channel, my name's Brian. It's nice to meet you. A few months ago, I upgraded my phone to this here Google Pixel 7a. I love everything about this phone. It's faster and more responsive than my old phone, has a nicer, brighter screen. To top it all off, the camera is 1,000,000 times better. And you would think, given that I fancy myself a photographer, that with a better phone camera, I could finally take good pictures with my phone. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. The sad truth is, no amount of money could save me from sucking at taking pictures with my phone. But instead of running away like I always do, I decided to take on the challenge. And so a few months ago, I started a series of shorts here on YouTube, aptly titled, Trying to Suck Less at Phone Photography, or T.T.S.L.A.P.P for short. Creative, I know. The premise was simple. I would take a picture that I was proud of every day with my phone, edit it on my phone, and create a short little video documenting the story behind the image or the creative process. The series has changed a lot since I started, hopefully for the better, but I'll leave that judgment up to you. We hit a big milestone this week. I recorded and uploaded the 50th episode of T.T.S.L.A.P.P. And to be honest, it feels kind of surreal. I went into this without a plan, and I wasn't sure I was going to make it past the first pilot, I guess you could call it. I'd never done anything like this. I've never started a series on YouTube. I've never made videos every single day. This was a whole new process to me. And to be honest, I kind of did this on a whim. I just had this idea one day, and I was looking for things to kind of pass the time by, something that would force me to be productive as I went along on my job search, which is a long story I'll save for another video. So uploading the 50th episode felt kind of surreal to me. It really does feel like just yesterday. I was at square one, standing in front of my bookcase over there, which if you've been following the series, you'll know the first few videos were filmed with my face in them. As the series progressed, it just took way too much time to set up the lighting and to figure out all the audio. So I ended up taking out my face, and the engagement actually went up a little bit, so I had to put my pride aside on that one. But in honor of this kind of big accomplishment for me, I know in the grand scheme of things, it's not that big a deal, but still, I thought I would take this time to look back on where T.T.S.L.A.P.P started and where it's at now. I'm taking a break for the holidays, so there will be no new T.T.S.L.A.P.s published until probably next year. I gotta shift gears a little bit with my life right now. It's cool to pretend to be an influencer, but real life calls. I'm taking this time to just refresh the creative energy and actually sleep. The amount of work that goes into this stuff is more than I anticipated. I bit off a lot more than I could chew, but I love doing it. Now that I have a little bit more time on my hands and I can actually reflect and really sit back and look at the work I've put in and not be stressed about getting out the next T.T.S.L.A.P.P episode, I thought a fun way to revisit it would be to take you guys along with me and do a little bit of director's commentary. I put together a supercut that's already uploaded, so if you want to watch that without having to look at the shorts, you can do that. It's a long form video on my channel. I'll link it in the description. I might pause it a few times to say some things. So if you just want to watch it uninterrupted, you can do that on your own time. I appreciate you either way. I thought it'd be fun to do a bit of a watch along, just so you can kind of see where I'm coming from and you can see my reaction to it. Maybe this is my descent into becoming a reaction channel. Hopefully not, but enough yapping. Let's watch some T.T.S.L.A.P.P. All right, buckle in, folks. Go take one last bathroom break, pop yourself some popcorn, and get yourself a nice refreshing beverage. I'm about to cringe a lot, I feel. Part of me really doesn't want to do this. I don't like seeing myself on camera. I hate hearing my own voice. This is going to be painful, but content, and because I love you. All right, let's do this. The best camera is the one you have with you. I feel like every photographer likes to say that. And I would too, but that would make me a hypocrite. My beard is uneven. I'm the guy who overpacks. I can't decide if I want to shoot film or digital, so I end up bringing both. One for the vibes, one for the autofocus. If I go for a walk, I have to lug around 10 pounds of gear, just in case. I'm embarrassed to admit it, but I can't for the life of me take a good picture with my phone. I spent like 2 hours shooting this, and this is my Pixel 7a. Debated back and forth whether or not I was even going to publish this. A good image in the right hands, as evidenced by my fellow Pixel owners on the gram who make me question my ability to call myself a photographer. This is such a long run-on sentence. Avoiding the things I suck at, I'm going to force myself to take a picture that I like with my phone for the next 100 days. Here's day one. It was all downhill from here. Peace. For day two of trying to suck less at phone photography, I decided to channel my inner Visco girl.
One of the things, I'm going to try not to pause too much, but one of the things about the early T.T.S.L.A.P.Ps that was actually kind of nice, and I was consciously trying to do this, was to make like a perfect loop. It just took way too much time to shoot these. Like these first few ones where my face is there and I'm like recording in front of my bookcase. I know nothing about lighting, so I was doing everything on the fly. And it took me maybe like an hour to set up these shots, and then like another 2 hours because I don't have a teleprompter. Like I have all these scripts. I went through like 2 or 3 takes of like every line just to try to get one that wasn't where I wasn't stuttering or saying type stuff. Man, sometimes I really do think I should have been a theater kid. I would have been a lot better at rehearsing lines. But yeah, I really do like that about the original T.T.S.L.A.P.Ps, because some of these, like they link together quite seamlessly, which falls apart later on because I couldn't be bothered. I just didn't have enough time.
And go shoot some flowers in my backyard. It was cloudy, so perfect for those moody vibes. I spent 20 minutes testing different angles and trying not to draw the ire of these bees that were just chilling there pollinating. But static shots just weren't doing it for me, so I played around with some long exposures, and that's when I felt my inner Visco girl power level surging. A heavy dose of Lightroom Mobile later.
I tried being Mimi with these first ones, but I'm just... It was very forced. Very forced.
Peace.
Oof.
It's day 3 of trying to suck less at phone photography, or T.T.S.L.A.P.P for short. Today, I have a 2-for-1 for you. I went to my cousin's house in the afternoon, when the harsh midday sun was casting shadows on the side of his garage, and it caught my eye. This isn't his house, but it's a super rough approximation of what I saw. To some, it's just a wall. To me, it's also a wall. A wall full of opportunity.
Dude, I was so awkward in some of these first ones.
Lightroom Mobile later, and this is the final photo. This next one was shot inside his house. The blinds in his sunroom were almost completely closed, letting in just slivers of light.
That's a cool
After
shot.
shooting the first photo, I had my eye out for interesting interplays between light and shadow, and this one was just too good to pass up. It's simple, but kind of...
I will say, this is still one of my favorite
Let me know what
photos.
shot you like
It's
better,
so clean
subscribe to follow
and
me
really
on
sharp.
the journey. Peace.
Do I throw my phone up? No.
It's day 4
That transition,
of trying to
though.
suck less at phone photography. A series where I try to suck less at taking pictures with my phone.
I look so... This is the same
by
shirt that I'm
taking
wearing right now.
Pictures every day with my phone. The day started off slow, but ended
Big
up being
Brain
pretty
Academy.
busy for me and my family. My aunt's moving back overseas, so I spent the afternoon moving
Why do I
50
sound
pound
so
boxes
sad in this
with
one?
my Olympic athlete of a sister before heading to the China
My sister
Bay
hates
December
that.
meal. I hadn't
It was
found
so
my
funny to
photos
me,
for the
though.
day yet, and some might say this is a cop-out, but I kid ye not. I literally stepped out of the car, looked down, and saw the sun shining on the busted-up asphalt and thought,
Noice.
nice. So today's photo is a picture that speaks to my Milwaukee roots. If you know, you know. After
I look a
dinner,
little
we
chubbier
dropped
in
off
this
my
one.
aunt and
I wonder
her
how
two
much I weighed
kids, Tuesday
during this
Adams
one.
and Jungkook, said our goodbyes, and here we
Wow,
are.
so much time has
Let me know what you think of
passed.
today's photo, and subscribe to follow
They're
me on this
like...
journey.
It's been
Peace.
months since they left. It's winter. They left in the summer.
Hello
Crazy.
there. It's day 5 of trying to suck less at phone photography.
This one was fun.
As seems to be a running
The
theme with the
intro.
series, I ran into today's photo by looking down at the ground. My dad's been doing some work around the house, filling up gaps and cracks in the pavement
Yeah.
before winter comes and the ice.
Shout out to my dad. I'm not sure if he even watches these, but like I'll just start filming him. Like I think I did this numerous times for T.T.S.L.A.P.P, especially as I started. I would just like have my camera on me. I'm talking like what I'm recording with now, the A7 III, and I would just record him doing stuff, and he wouldn't question it at all. I don't know if he knows that he ended up in. I mean, he runs his own YouTube channel, so it's not like he's camera shy or anything. He's on camera plenty. Yeah, shout out to my dad. He never questions me whenever I point a camera at him, like ever. Yeah, it's a real MVP.
Ice pulls a choji on us. I'd describe his work style as organized chaos. He keeps his tools laying about in no particular order, but he can always seem to find what he needs when he needs it. I might have taken after him. Just a little bit. I spent some time watching him work, helping him grab stuff.
Getting a little more natural with the
grabbing
line
a tube
delivery
of
here.
caulk when I saw these gloves he threw on the grass. And that's when I shot this photo. The sunlight is kind of carrying it, but it's fun. I could see it being the album cover to some edgy teen's debut EP. But what do you think?
I don't even know if it looks like it, but I think the inspiration behind that gloves thing was actually, I think, Sour. I was thinking of like an Olivia Rodrigo album. If Olivia Rodrigo ever sees this, if you make an album and you want to call it Gloves, please contact me. I have an idea already queued up. Any artist out there, if you want an album named Gloves, we can work something out.
Let me know and subscribe to follow me on this journey.
The lightsaber literally has nothing to do with the photo.
How's it going?
Kind of clean.
It's day 6 of trying to suck less at phone photography. Today, I kind of cheated. You see, it's opening day of the China Lights, the touring light show that comes to Milwaukee every year. It's always a grand old
dude. I really do like this footage though. Like this is some of my best like shooting overall.
Performances that make you
But
realize just how
holy crap, it took me like 2 hours. It took me 2 hours to figure out this lighting, and looking at it now, it looks like I'm trying to do some like bootleg moonlight
even
thing.
in the cold, which she still hasn't forgiven.
Shout out to my sister though, for real.
This time around, we got our family to go with us.
Like,
It's
what
gotten
is
a bit
this
expensive
lighting,
over the
though?
years, but I put it on my sister's
no
card,
sense.
so I'm not complaining. Anyway, here's today's photo. I call it cheating because it's one of those things that's nearly
Yeah, I
impossible to
expedited
take
this
that
one because I
picture.
wanted
But let
to
me know what
see
you
if I could get like some of the
Subscribe to follow
traction
me on this
because
journey.
China Lights had just come to town. It didn't do very well.
It's day 7 of trying to suck less at phone photography. And sometimes this profession makes you look stupid to the people around you, who have no idea what you're doing and probably don't care either. Like my neighbor, who was cutting her grass when I pulled out a stepladder and tried not to fall while shooting my basketball hoop. The sun was setting, and as terrified as I am to look like an idiot, I couldn't stop myself from trying to get this shot. The light hitting the net
This
was
is
just-
one of my this is another one of my
I've been
favorite
trying to
shots.
photograph this hoop for years, and this is
Like,
the first shot
the
that I've
light
been
is just
kind of
so good.
happy with. But let me know what you think, and subscribe to follow me on this 100-day
Dude, my beard
photo
really
journey.
is uneven though. What the heck?
Peace.
I didn't notice it at the time. Is it always
It's day 8
uneven?
of trying to suck less at phone photography.
Am I wearing the same
It's
shirt?
about
No, I'm
time I
not.
give you a behind-the-scenes look at this jank production.
I wear like the
I
same
filmed
10
these videos
shirts.
in my room, and what you see behind me is a Walmart shelf full of manga and knickknacks
that's the
that's
shelf.
1 pound away
That's the
from
shelf.
collapsing in on itself. At the very top, I've got the most Pinterest mom fake flower arrangement I've ever seen, and I can't for the life of me remember where it's from.
That's a
I was
lie.
playing
That's a
around-
lie. That's a lie. That's a lie. That's a lie. I know exactly where it came from. That flower arrangement came from my ex-girlfriend. Starting out, I wasn't super comfortable like kind of sharing and just like oversharing, just being honest. And I think for the script's sake, like it was just faster to say, I don't know where it came from, even though I know exactly where it came from. I also wasn't sure if like my ex watched these videos, because this is an old channel that I'm uploading stuff to. So like my first 50 subscribers are like people who knew me in high school, which my ex is one of them. And I wasn't trying to send any weird signals. Like, if you are watching this, it doesn't mean anything. I literally just saw it when I was recording and I was like, this could make an interesting photo.
With lighting to film T.T.S.L.A.P.P. when I looked up and saw it. The light was casting a harsh shadow on the wall, and my edgy teen senses started tingling.
Spooderman.
So I hopped up on my table, avoided getting Final Destination by my ceiling fan, and got to shooting. This is what I came up
almost fell
with.
shooting
It's not
this.
great, but I'm sure I could get some.
This is one of those
extra
photos
if I
that like
posted some deep
was for
contributed quotes.
just for the meme.
What do you think? Let me know and subscribe to follow me on this photo journey. Peace. It's day 9 of trying to suck less at phone photography. And today's
Ooh,
photo
my skin looks really yellow in this one.
Literally.
Bad lighting.
My sister and I just got back from shopping, and as I was getting out of the car, I noticed this yellow stepladder thing leaned up against the side of the garage. I'm not sure where it came from or if anyone even uses it, but it was the first time I noticed these symmetrical lines underneath one
This
of the
was one of those
steps.
photos that
To
should
spice
have
it up even
that
more,
should have turned
the
out
headlights were
cooler than it
reflecting off
actually
the
did.
wall and hitting it from the side, casting some pretty heavy shadows. I'm like the kid in the meme who really likes amusement parks, while the rest of the world has no
Dude, I was trying to figure out a way to
I
work
see something
work
like
in this
and I'm
meme.
like,
Okay, let's go.
It's one of my favorite memes of all time.
this is the shot. To anybody else, it's unremarkable, but to me, it's pretty
yeah,
cool.
it
So let
should
me know
have
what you
it should have been better. I should
Subscribe
go
to
back and
follow me on
reshoot
Substack.
that. It looks really
Peace.
weirdly grainy, and it's kind of skewed.
It's day 10 of trying to suck less at phone photography, and this is the closest I'll ever get to being a Nat Geo photographer. My cousin and her
Dude, that
husband have a
regional
big fish tank
Geographic
in their living
meme,
room.
it was something
I
I've
think
been
it was a
saving.
good
I've had that one in the
contentious
chamber
decision
for a
at
long
first,
time.
but we've all come to enjoy watching the little fishies swim around, plotting their escape.
It's Nemo.
We stopped by to say hello, and I figured I'd pull out my best wildlife photographer impression. I spent 5 minutes with my phone pressed up to the glass, trying to work out some sort of composition.
This was actually a pretty
Turns
cool
out this kind
shot.
of photography requires a lot of
Not the photo,
patience,
like this
and it makes
time-lapse
you look
thing.
pretty weird. But here's what I came up with. It
This
could be
one was
better,
fun. This one was
could be
fun.
worse. Let me know what you think, and subscribe to follow me
Bit
on this photo
noisy, though.
journey. Peace.
Look at this acting. Look at this acting here. Give me an Oscar.
It is decidedly so.
I had to shake that thing like 10 times.
It's day 11 of trying to suck less at phone photography. And sometimes this photo stuff is all about being in the right place.
Oh my god. This one is so cringy, bro.
Solving the day's wordle as a plane flies overhead.
This one is so embarrassing.
Cuts through the clouds. Have a serendipitous day, folks.
I sound so depressed in this one. Like, this is when I was trying to figure out what the tone was. I knew I wanted to be more humorous and show that side of myself. This one was too much. Being in the right place at the right time. Yeah, I don't know, man. This one wasn't it. This one is probably the cringiest. I don't like this one at all. And the audio is really scuffed. Yeah, not my best work. The photo's cool. Just, I tried getting too serious and I look like extra greasy in this. I don't know why. Let's continue on.
Peace. It's day 12 of trying to suck less at phone photography. And there's a big old spider chilling on the side of my garage.
I like this one though. This one was one of my favorite T.T.S.L.A.P.P.
But it gave me a
This spider is big. I haven't seen it in a while, but it's big. It was big.
Of course. Spiders are good for the earth, even if they are kind of creepy.
Oh, that's not very nice.
I looked it up, and I don't think it's
Double
venomous. I'm not sure if we have any.
Dude, this shot is crazy though. Look at the detail.
But if I'm wrong, I stuck my hand stupidly close to it. Natural selection, I guess. Take care, y'all. And be nice to spiders. Peace.
Spiders are really cool.
It's day 13 of trying to suck less at phone photography. And this is me trying to photograph a leaf. I was walking by and noticed the sun illuminating small sections of this plant my dad's been taking care of for the last 4 years. It's one of the many plants my dad's got growing around.
This shirt is way too small for me, by the way.
And I can't remember when it started. But for the
first time I've worn it. The first time I wore it in like 4 years.
Picked and purchased from all kinds of places and people.
Ooh,
I
alliteration.
Take after my mom, so I tend to kill every plant I touch. So I think I'll.
I trimmed my beard in this one.
For this shot, I went for detail and faked a macro lens with an extreme crop. I think it kind of looks like a painting. You know those mass-produced ones you can pick up for $15 in the home section of TJ Maxx? Like those kind of paintings. But let me know what you think, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace. It's day 14 of trying to suck less at phone photography. And today's photo.
Oh, I think this is when I started transitioning away from my face. Oh no, that's a lie.
He just planted some grass seed a few days ago.
I reused
Every
that.
few nights he goes out and waters any patchy bits. I caught him in the act today.
A little bit of sound design. Okay.
The low light capabilities of my Pixel 7a. I'm impressed. And though it's not the most exciting shot, this is the type of image I enjoy making the most.
That's a true statement.
Documenting people, places, or things that we normally don't think twice about. And finding some sort of beauty in the mundane.
Me trying to get too deep again.
Whack.
Let me know what you think.
I forgot I threw in the Hannibal Buress in there. That was funny.
15 of trying to suck less at phone photography.
I was so scared to upload this one.
Water like a normal human being. I think my form of fragile masculinity is trying to drink water faster.
That's so slow. I used to do this so much faster.
I try to behave myself.
I'm disappointed in myself.
I was visiting family, so instead of chugging this bottle, I decided
this is a 100% true story.
If I took all the air out of it, and when I held it to the light, I saw today's photo.
I shot it right then and there.
Some might
it was so cool.
Lazy photography, but I say we're back to the abstract, folks. It kind of reminds me of ice. But what do you see? Let me know, and I'll catch you.
No one's commented on it. No one told me what they saw. I'm still curious.
It's day 16 of trying to suck less at phone.
I'm wearing the same shirt.
And today was a good day. I played catch with my
Did I record this on the same day?
Sister and caught a sunset on a fishing trip with our folks. I saw these two people sitting on a bench by the lake, and it reminded me of Forrest Gump. And thinking of Forrest Gump made me think about those people, and the thousands of other people we'll cross paths with in our lifetimes, each with unique stories.
Really,
filled
though?
with rich tales of triumph
Jesus
and
Christ.
sorrow. I wondered what their stories were.
Well, Brian's trying to
And
get
they'll
deep
never
again.
know. I'm grateful they sat there
This
at that
ain't it.
exact moment. They'll never know.
Cringe.
With these photographs, they became a tiny piece
of my story. Yikes.
And I think that's
Cringe
pretty
AF, dog. Nice photo, though. Nice photo.
I'll catch you tomorrow. Peace.
I was in my feels, man.
It's day 17 of trying to suck less at phone photography. Fall is upon us, and I really thought this fly was a mosquito.
Man, I sound depressed in this one. I sound so sad.
Before it realized my phone was getting alarmingly close to its face.
I still think that's a mosquito. That thing is creepy.
But sometimes I get the urge to pretend I'm a wildlife photographer. And this is about the closest I'll ever get to Nat Geo. So let me have my moment, please. I was on a
That's
late
kind of a cringy
afternoon
line.
with my dad. Milwaukee has a bunch of these small parks that you wouldn't really know about unless you lived in
We
the
really
area.
do, though. Milwaukee's great for those parks.
I used to come here all the time and do laps trying to hatch eggs in Pokemon Go.
I have not used that in years.
Peace.
It's day 18 of trying to suck less.
No transition.
And this is a mooncake. My mom buys a tin of these every year for the mid-autumn. This one was kind of a challenge to shoot. This year began on Friday, September 29th, the 15th day of the 8th lunar month. It's a time to get together with family, celebrate the moon at its fullest, light incense, make wishes, and of course, eat mooncakes. They come in all different kinds, but my family always gets mooncakes with the salty egg yolk filling.
Funny story.
It's dense.
Okay, so I was trying to film this, and I couldn't for the life of me grab the thing out of the plastic, right? So I ended up having to touch all of it to the point where it was getting like slimy because it's a very greasy thing. I like touched all of it multiple times, and my sister was watching me and she forced me to eat the whole thing. These things are dense. For the content, I did it for you. If you've ever had a mooncake, you know eating a whole one is kind of tough,
but quite beautiful in its way. I couldn't really photograph the moon with my phone, so I figured a mooncake would be the perfect stand-in. I had no idea what I was doing.
Kind of a cool shot.
But then again, I never really know what I'm doing. I just try my best to have fun while doing it.
I like
take care, y'all.
Oddly got deep there. Couldn't think of any jokes.
Trying to suck less at phone photography. And you're probably wondering what I'm doing.
It's one of my favorite ones.
Guess. Am I A, taking a selfie, B, scanning for bed bugs,
kind of like C, the Justin Bieber haircut here.
Edit. If you guessed A, B, or C, you're wrong. The answer is D. Running out of ideas and photographing my sister's bed sheets. They have these interesting lines that remind me
This one
of
was a cool shot.
As you can tell,
I still like this one.
She's very particular about her sleeping quarters. Her bed is always neatly made and guarded from any outsiders by this green blob thing, which stands in stark contrast to my space. That's more studio than bedroom. I haven't had a bed since I was a freshman living in the dorms. And even then, me and my roommate would take turns sleeping on my Walmart futon. That ended up being my bed senior year. Funny how things come full circle, huh?
I littered.
I'll catch y'all later. Peace. It's day 20 of trying to suck less.
That futon was cool though. Good memories.
I actually left the house today. My dad wanted to go fishing, so we headed downtown just as the sun finished setting. I hadn't shot my photo for the day yet, and I was losing hope as the skies around us.
This is when I think I started transitioning towards shooting or trying to shoot more with my A7 III for the B-roll.
So I went back to what I know best, documenting what's happening
which was
right in front of me.
A good decision aesthetically, but
to be my dad,
takes a lot more time.
Salmon, and occasionally shining a light on his glow-in-the-dark spinner. A familiar sight I'd seen a million times, but never thought to photograph. He didn't end up catching anything, and neither
I really like this set.
But it was a good time.
Didn't do well on the algorithm, but I like the photos.
It's day 21 of trying to.
This one did really well on the
algorithm. This is my sister's cutting mat.
I like the way this one is shot.
In high school for art projects, and I dinged this thing up pretty.
Man, I was so scared to cut myself.
Healing itself a long time ago, but I never noticed how bad it was until I saw it today. You wouldn't know it if you looked at it on a flat surface, but with
this was so crazy.
Right angle, it's pretty gnarly. Probably the result of a younger me compensating for using a dull blade with brute force. A recipe for deep gouges and plenty of flesh wounds. Oof. They used to wake me up when I was rushing to finish projects hours before they were due. Back when I thought I was the next
No lies told. Look at that cringy boy. Ugh, look at all this horrible art.
Though I probably should have realized earlier that I wasn't cut out for the whole fine artist thing when I couldn't cut a straight line even with a straight
for real. I can't even draw a straight line with a straight edge. It's bad.
It's day 22 of trying to suck less at phone photography, and I went fishing again. Or, more accurately, I went chasing pavements while my dad fished. Again.
That Adele song is really good.
I refused to buy a fishing license, and 2, it's probably my favorite Adele song. Even though I was literally
throw in the cheap Adele meme
for a photograph, not ruminating on love or heartache from said emotion. Because that's a lot of work, and I thought it was a cool pattern. Though you could argue that this photo journey of mine is figuratively like chasing pavements.
Had to make the connection.
Be a fruitless pursuit. But you and I won't know until we get to day 100.
I mean, we're on day 50 and it still hasn't amounted to anything, my guy.
It's day 23 of
hate to break it to you.
Less at phone photography. And I've been working
I'm so self-conscious about my jump shot.
Of self-preservation, I've blurred it out.
It really took me a lot to upload this.
It's more Joakim Noah than
like I'm really embarrassed about my jump shot.
It's been getting colder here in Milwaukee, which means I won't
that might
be
even
able
be
to
disrespectful to Joakim Noah
much longer. The jumper was feeling a little less broken tonight. and I was getting in the zone. I've been working on it. Get that. Had to drop everything to Chef Curry flick. Instead. Looks like it's time for the birds to get on out of here. This one was such a wild capture. So I'll probably have to wait half a year. I wish I had like my proper camera on me. It would have been a really cool photo. It's day 24 of trying to suck less at phone photography. Hot pot. And my folks wanted to do hot pot today. So we took a trip to the Asian grocery store. I used to prefer the American stores when I was a kid. Asian grocery stores really are the best. And got the chance to visit the motherland that I could finally appreciate the smell and chaos of these places. Y'all should visit. Southeast Asia is close to Asia as you can get without draining your bank account and hopping on a plane. At the checkout line, I saw these worn-out stickers on the floor. That took me. I was really reaching for a story here, to be honest. But outside the context of a pandemic, it almost felt like a personal attack. See, life's been getting a bit stagnant lately. I like the photo. I don't like this story. Waiting for life to happen. Maybe it was a divine sign, if you believe in that sort of thing. Or maybe I'm just losing it. Definitely just losing it, my guy. It's day 25 of trying to suck less at phone photography. I see. And I'm going to shut up for once and let you look at these flowers in peace. This is one of the only T.T.S.L.A.P.P. I'll see you tomorrow. Ever uploaded or exported in 1080p because I shot all this on my phone. Only T.T.S.L.A.P.P. that's exclusively shot on my phone, I think. I didn't catch this when I did the supercut. Oof, I'm a bad editor. Yeah, looking back, I should have put some more effort. I just wanted to rush this one out, so it just feels weird without me speaking. I like the photos though. And if you've run out of things to photograph like me, just do what I do and follow the light. Right around golden hour. Notice how, what are we on? Like, we're not even day 30 yet. From the start, I've been saying that I've been running out of ideas. Apparently, I've been struggling from the start, which is kind of true. It is hard, like trying to find a photo every single day when you live in a place where nothing really happens and you're a homebody and you're not really going anywhere and you're a hermit and all your friends are off adulting and doing real things with their lives. I really don't leave the house much these days. So it's a real creative challenge. I will say it's a real creative challenge. The sun makes everything in this house glow with a warmth that takes me back to simpler times. Warmth. So hard to say. Every day in the summertime told me that the light is a nice napkin photo in our house. Maybe it's the windows or its position relative to the setting sun. I had no idea what to do with my hand for this shot. Feeling nostalgia. Amplifying the good memories in ways that make our current lives feel bleak. See, this is me trying to get deep, and I don't mind this one. I actually like this one. The photos are nice, and which is why I'm pushing forward. And the message is sweet. I like that. I don't sound super sad. I like new things to shoot every day. It's day 27. Me complaining again. Trying to suck less at phone photography. This one was kind of weird. Weird opening. Weird opening. Our half bath by the kitchen has one. And I've never quite. No, for real though. Like, what the hell? Like, what bathroom has a frickin' window? But I'm not exactly sure like, having a little window into your private business is comforting. Anyhow, like, I think the window seals are starting to get a bit wonky, seeing as it looks like an oil slick. I really don't know why it would look like an oil slick. I didn't do anything to address it. Yeah, I think these are double paned, so there's like condensation getting in between the layers. Catch you on the flip side. I don't know if we'll ever replace that. It's day 28 of trying to suck less at phone photography. And let me tell you about the time. This is when I started really. This is spray paint on his garage floor. Dig into that storytelling. And I wasn't like afraid to kind of open up and share stuff from my past. No matter how much I scrubbed. Some of it's from my days desperately trying to enter the canon of the almighty avant-garde. But most of it is a lingering reminder of the lovesick poet I used to be. The kind of sad sap who would sit in the sweltering summer heat, jerry-rigging carnival games for a girl's elaborately themed birthday party. My dad's usually look at that simp. Guy, so the memory of him yelling at me when he walked in on the aftermath of my one-man sweatshop operation sticks with me. I laugh at it now, even though it meant so. That samurai footage came from the public domain. Now, early on in T.T.S.L.A.P.P., I was kind of towing the line with copyrighted material, trying to see what I could get away with. And because I genuinely thought the memes were funny. Like, I know that there's some Shrek stuff. I think there's maybe like a Nemo photo and like the fish one. The thing is, fair use is something that's pretty new to me. Like, I've read about it. I've watched some videos on it. There's a lot of gray areas. I don't know if what I was doing with those copyrighted materials could be considered fair use. Like, it definitely wasn't a substitute for the product. And I wasn't using it. I wasn't using long portions of it. But I don't know. That's something that from this point on, you'll notice that I moved away from something that I also challenged myself to do and that I wanted to do, was explore the public domain and see what was out there. And what I found is that there's a large amount of content that, I mean, is pretty high quality and that's pretty memeable, that is available for anyone and everyone to use for free, whether it's commercial, personal use. And so I wanted to tap into those resources just to avoid any potential legal issues moving forward. So yeah, just a personal decision by me, and something that you should keep an eye out for in these future T.T.S.L.A.P.P s, not only just the ones we're about to watch, but also the ones coming out in 2024.
So much to me back then. Standing here now, it's no more than a faint echo of a time long since past. It's day 29 of
Brian
trying
getting
to suck
deep.
less at phone photography, and my dad is currently in his e-bike phase. After years of internal debate, he finally bought a pair for him and my mom.
This is when these last two T.T.S.L.A.P.S are when I feel like my storytelling I started hitting a stride with the script writing and the storytelling.
Those e-bike people.
Oh, here comes another public domain one. This one is kind of creepy. Yeah, it's really odd, this PSA thing about bike safety. Like they're all like wearing like gorilla masks. Very odd.
It reminded me of Daphne du Maurier's The Birds. I read a shortened version in high school, overanalyzing it as annoying try-hard English students do. It stuck with me over the years.
Oh,
now every time I
right as I say no copyrighted material, I literally have Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds.
And slap on the grain.
So I lied again. But after this, I don't think there's any, unless it's within reason.
And it's that time of year.
This is me experimenting with kind of different openings, trying to
pumpkin spice
get that hook.
And the urge to cuff outweighs all common sense. Yep, fall is finally upon us. So whip out your best flannel and go bobbing for apples, or whatever people do in autumn. I'm lame, so I'll just be here waiting for the great pumpkin with the homie Linus.
Man, I really am lying.
It's day 31 of trying to suck less at phone photography.
So I'm a liar. Apparently I didn't move away from the copyrighted material. Don't listen to anything I say. I don't even know anymore. I can't remember. But I think after those, I stopped leaning really heavily into the copyrighted material. At least I hope. Otherwise, I'd really be a liar.
And it's officially Halloween, though you wouldn't know it if you went outside. Here in Milwaukee, there's snow on the ground. And all
that was
the
a
kids
cool
went
shot. I like
trick-or-treating
that.
on the weekend. So I
Had to
guess
manually
it's just
focus for
another
that.
day. I wanted to shoot something thematically appropriate, but the closest thing to spooky we've got around this unfestive household might be this decaying statue that came with the house when we moved in.
You know,
It's seen better days.
I remember really liking
The
this
scariest thing
photograph.
about it might not be its physical
I
state,
don't like
but
this
what it
photo anymore.
symbolizes.
I think it's
The
really
unfettered
bad.
passing of time. Some of us forgotten by it. All of us slowly but surely.
Me trying to get
a
all deep.
reminder that,
I'm just messing with you. It's not that deep.
or is it? It's day 32 of trying.
That was
suck less
funny.
at
I like
phone
that.
photography.
That's
Now
my
might be
type of
shoveling
humor.
snow
Very.
in October. I shouldn't be surprised given that
That's
I've lived in
that's just what
Wisconsin
my
all
humor
life.
is.
But here we are once again. Unfortunately, this isn't the nice fluffy snow either. This is the nasty wet kind that weighs a ton and turns everything into a
Shout out to New Balance.
I managed
I've had
to
those
get
shoes.
the
Those shoes have
driveway
been over
sidewalk
6
clear
countries,
pretty
man.
quickly, but not before I snagged a photo like a true Gen Zer. Behold,
I don't know
my
which gen
footprints
I'm
in
in.
the
I had to
snow.
Google that.
Basic?
Someone fact check me. Am I Gen
But
Z?
aesthetic nonetheless. Let me know what
This
you
was a cool photo.
and I'll catch you tomorrow.
Nice amount of detail.
It's day 33 of trying to suck less at phone photography. And if you happen to be walking outside my house in the afternoon and saw a
This is another prime
racially
example of
ambiguous male pointing a phone
my
at
type
a
of
window,
humor.
I assure you I wasn't photographing.
Some people will love
I
it.
was shooting
Other
the
people will think
blinds,
it's super
specifically
annoying.
this corner here.
Some
Now,
days
if
I
you've
don't
been
even know how I
following
feel
me on
about
this
it.
100-day photo journey, which you should, by
Which
the
you
way.
should, by the
You
way.
know I have a strange affinity for what most people would consider unremarkable, like the sunlight casting a shadow on the blinds. Admittedly, it's not all that interesting on the surface, but like most things in life, it's all about your angle, your perspective. Up close, it's dusty and almost unrecognizable. It kind of reminds me
This
of
shot
roof shingles,
really surprised me.
maybe
Like,
even a tile floor.
I knew what I was
Sounds
going for, but I
easy.
not until I edited it did I really
Trying to suck
see
less at phone
like
photography.
that it would
And
come
I'm
out like
starting to
that.
Scrape at the bottom of my creative barrel here.
This is a funny
Not
one.
gonna lie,
Public
I've
domain.
photographed this a million times before, but never with my phone. Our front door has these decorative glass accents.
Yeah, this
which
one's
do
such a
wonders for letting
This is such a
light
cheap
in,
shot.
but probably take off a few points on defense. It took me a minute to shoot it, as it always does. Not because it's a particularly difficult shot,
but because you've got to get the camera as straight as possible for it to look right. And
Facts,
so you don't have to spend
facts.
20 minutes distorting the image to fix it later on. Remember, folks, it's always better to do it in camera, even if it takes an extra few minutes, than to spend unnecessary time editing out.
This is so true.
It takes you away from all the fun stuff, like, actually shooting. Anyway.
I think that warrants a pause. It sounds dumb and it sounds super intuitive, but it's something that it wasn't until I started working as a photographer and landed my first real professional photography job when I was in college that I really started to understand what people meant by do it in camera. Things like that. It's such a simple shot, but it really does take maybe 30 seconds or a minute to adjust it so that it's straight. Editing is great and editing tools are so powerful now. You can probably edit it out. That takes time away from your workflow. And I don't know, for me, sometimes it just doesn't look natural. Sometimes it just doesn't look right. So you can avoid that altogether just by taking 2 more seconds to kind of hold your camera straight, make sure everything is level.
Here's my annual front door shot, Pumpkin Spice Edition.
I think this one's
Colors are kinda
slightly
carrying it,
skewed
but let me know
still.
what you think.
I wish I would have taken a little bit more time with
It's
the
day
edit.
35 of trying to suck less at phone photography, and I recently discovered that I can solve this. Now I realize that
This one is an advertisement for a video I made that was completely unrelated.
from me. You see, this 5x5 has been collecting dust in my puzzle collection for the last 6 years. I bought it, couldn't figure out how to solve it, and promptly gave up. Then I got sick last week, picked it up, and it suddenly made sense half a decade later. It's a bit of a long story that requires some overdramatic storytelling. So if you're curious, I made a full video you can watch on my channel.
You really should. I think it's a nice
Try and
video.
get better at phone photography. And this here 5x5 is our subject for today. I went for something basic.
Yeah, I shot that video not knowing how I
Then
would promote
realized
it.
It was too boring. So I
And
actually
then
did Tessellate it
I
in
thought,
Photoshop.
why don't I just make a T.T.S.L.A.P.P out of it? And I think it's one of the better
Let me
T.T.S.L.A.P.s.
know what you think.
I like this photo, well, even though I did
It's day
cheat.
36 of trying to suck less at phone photography.
That's a dirty pond in my backyard. Stagnant water.
We've got a giant pile of wet leaves in front of the house taking up half the road, a bunch of fallen leaves littered across the driveway and clogging the gutters.
This is when I started experimenting with shadows for the
It's
captions.
difficult to capture in a still photograph.
They were a bit hard to read early on.
So I went back to
So
something
hopefully
my
this made it a
old
little
boss
better.
said. He told me that when you're on a shoot, and there's too much visual information to process, don't try capturing it all. Just put down the camera.
This is
take it in
actually
from-
good advice that
focus on
applies to
details that
life as
help tell
well.
The story
Applies to a lot of things
I
in
looked
life,
kinda suspicious
not just
doing that in
photography.
the rain, but it was well worth it. Not sure why, but this particular leaf stood out to me, and after a bit of trial and error, I found a shot I liked. Color wasn't doing it for me.
This shot is crazy. I don't know how detailed. I don't know how it got. I don't know how it's that detailed, but
trying to suck less at phone photography.
really one of the better looking photos.
Gifts is hard. You could go with the
Gifts.
classy
It took me
time
10
piece
takes
and
to say
every task in your
gifts.
life. A Rubik's Cube for the kiddos who are perpetually glued to their iPads.
I think this is one of the best performing T.T.S.L.A.P.P s.
Maybe a book with actual pages, or a Bluetooth speaker, or a hat, or maybe the most universal gift of them all, a wad of cash.
That's real, by the way. That's worth. You think that's a lot? That's worth less than 25 cents
This
USD.
here bucket of popsicle sticks, for example. An ex gifted this to me years ago, and it's
The same ex with the who gave me the flower arrangement.
Actually, a pretty sweet gift. We were an indecisive pair, so she wrote different places and restaurants we could visit on these sticks we could pull at random. I didn't appreciate it much at the time, but looking back, it's probably one of the most thoughtful gifts I've ever received, despite it literally being just popsicle sticks.
Fun fact. There used to be, I think, 2 or 3 more colors. I think there was blue and some other stuff, but I think those were romantic activities. So go on a date to the movies or something like that. And I got rid of those years ago. And I think the one reason I saved it was because I thought I could still use them. So I just got rid of the couple oriented stuff. Is this a faux pas? Should I just have gotten rid of it? Is it weird that I made a video about it? I have no idea. I mean, I dated this person in high school and my freshman year of college. She dumped me. So I don't know. I always have my reservations about talking about people from my past in the videos I make, because just in case they stumble upon it one day and they get the wrong idea. Like I said, no hard feelings toward this person. This is not my trying to get back with them. Not at all. Not at all. Hopefully it's not weird. I just thought it was a fun story, and seeing as we're coming up on Christmas, I thought it could be something that maybe someone sees out there and they can make for their significant other. I think it's a really cool idea. Just a shame that it never ended up being used for its intended purpose with the intended people. But it's all love. It's all love. Let's continue.
Thanks. It's day 38 of trying to suck less at phone photography.
This is me really exposing myself, though, for real. Like, I am so embarrassed about my high school art. Oh my god,
I dream about was becoming a manga artist, which was before I started high school, where I realized that drawing is hard.
Look at that. That's so bad. Why did my art teacher pass me?
As a result, this thing has been stuck on my shelf ever since, in what looks to be a flossing stance. I haven't messed with it in years, but it caught my eye today. Something about the way the light was hitting it made me want to shoot it, with my phone, of course. And I have to say, for someone who doesn't really do still life photography, I think it's pretty neat. For a singular static image,
this photo is actually quite nice.
It tells you a lot about me, and the person I used to be.
Just the lighting is so delicate. It's all just lit from this LED light strip on my wall here.
And these are my mom's bananas. They may look a little different than what you're used to. That's because these are no ordinary bananas. These are the Thai variety that she has to go to great lengths to.
When I say great lengths, I mean great lengths. She has to go to, I think they restock these at like some of the Asian stores in the area, but I don't think these are in season like all the time. It's not like a Chiquita that you can go to like an Aldi or like a Walmart at any time of the year and get. I think it's very specific periods of time. I don't know where these are grown. But yeah, I think they might even cost a bit more than a normal banana. So my mom is crazy for them. You could even say she's bananas. So I mean it when I say she goes to great lengths.
Procure. Here's what one looks like next to a standard Chiquita. Now, I'm sure at least one of you is expecting a dirty joke here, but I try to keep it family friendly. And come on, that's literally low-hanging fruit.
Not gonna lie,
Instead,
the entire premise of this episode was based on that
a
pun.
somewhat interesting pattern, but I find that with something so repetitive, it helps to anchor the shot with something.
I look so stupid doing
For
this.
me,
Thankfully, everyone was
banana
asleep.
that's going against the grain, like a misunderstood artist amidst a society of conformists. It's a strange photo.
Ryan trying to be deep
One
again.
that I would have never shot if it weren't for this photo a day challenge. That's the fun of it, though. We're not even halfway through, and I've already gone bananas.
My leg is falling asleep. Holy crap. Need to readjust. I'm sitting on the floor. Okay, that's a lot better. Oh my god. All right, back to the action.
It's day 40 of trying to suck less at phone photography.
This was one of the more unique shots.
Some strange places sometimes. For today's photo, it came in the form of an Asian household staple, the plastic bag collection.
Shout out to my
We have a
sister.
drawer full of them, but it's perpetually full, so this is the auxiliary grocery bag storage. I was drawn to this Crocs bag because of how absurdly green it is. When I looked a little closer, I saw these creases and crinkles, and I wondered how it would translate to a photo. Now, a better content creator would save the results for part 2, but seeing as more than half of you won't even make it to this part,
Me
I'll
throwing
just
shade.
them here. I personally like how they turned out. The images are fun, bright, and abstract. I don't know why, but it reminds me of gamma rays and the Hulk. The green is so green that it just looks radioactive. But let me know what it reminds you of. It's day 41 of trying to suck less at phone photography, and my sister is currently on a bit of a cleaning kick.
She still is on that cleaning kick. She's trying to reorganize everything.
She bought some new storage bins and racks. As she was putting things away, I saw this colander thing, and instead of helping her,
Is that a
like
colander?
good little brother, I decided to get in her way and photograph it. She's gotten pretty used to my uselessness, and for some reason encourages.
Shout out to her though, for real. She's put up with my BS for so many years. Thank you. Appreciate you. If you're watching this.
About them, even though they're actually pretty cool. Sometimes we just have to see things in a new light, or re-encounter them under different circumstances.
I really like this photo. It's a bit over edited,
It's the same way
but
with people, if you really think about it.
what was that weird quip at the end?
The
The heck?
Trying to suck less at phone photography, and there's a concerning amount of pee on this snow. Like
For-
real. Either the
like,
bunnies
genuinely.
decided that our backyard
Way
is a porta
too
potty
much
this
urine.
winter, or we've got a serial urinator on the loose. I only noticed it because I almost stepped in it trying to find today's photograph. It's been pretty cold lately, so I've been stuck inside. But I'm running out of things to shoot around the house, so I layered up and went for a walk. I was drawn to the melting snow, even though we usually see it in a negative light. After all, it's not very Instagrammable in this state, with random blades of grass popping out, and, of course, the pee stains. But the settings
Never thought I'd be filming
just
pee.
the right angle to cast what I think are some pretty neat shadows that carry the shot. I think we have to go black and white, though. The yellow spots are a bit distracting. But let me know what you think, and I'll catch you next time. Peace. It's day 43 of trying to suck less at phone. And
Film.
the best advice I can give to any of you young photogs out there is to not be peer pressured into shooting film.
That is some real genuine advice, though. I think if you started getting into photography in the last few years, I started getting into it when I was in high school, so that was maybe around like 2016, 2017. I don't know if it's as bad now, but I feel like there's like certain segments of the community that are like, you're not a real photographer if you've never shot film. And a lot of the big photographers that you encounter on YouTube just so happen to shoot film. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that there is something very special about shooting film, very fun about it. And other than the finances involved, I don't regret starting to shoot film, but it's gotten so expensive, even compared to when I started. Like, you could get a pro pack of Portra for maybe 40, 50, something like that. But now I think it costs like 60, 70. I'll put in a screenshot from B&H here just to fact check myself. But yeah, it's expensive. And getting film cameras isn't as easy as it used to be either. I used to be able to go to my local Goodwill. Every photographer has a story of their one amazing Goodwill find. I've never found anything crazy like a TLR, but I found some nice SLRs. I found my AE1 there. I found the Minolta X700 there for less than $100. I don't know if you can find those anymore because people are on the look for it, if not to add to their camera collection to resell it. And so now that a lot of people are super into shooting film, and it's kind of had a resurgence within popular culture just because the aesthetic is so nice. Yeah, it's very expensive now. Let's be honest. Like, you can't emulate it completely with editing software, but I don't think you need to shoot film to be a good photographer. Like, if you can and you do, that's cool, but don't let anyone tell you that you have to. Or don't be peer pressured by watching people online. Like, a good photo is a good photo, whether or not it's shot on a phone, a webcam, a DSLR, a mirrorless, whatever. Could be shot on potato. Good photo is a good photo. A good photo is a photo that tells a story. So you can do that on pretty much any medium. But that's my aside. Save yourself some money, kids. All right, let's get back to this.
I developed a strong case of FOMO from watching unhealthy amounts of Grainy Days, Willem Verbeek, and Volandes during the pandemic. It had me thinking I might finally get good if I traded noise for grain.
That didn't happen.
A few late-night eBay shopping sprees, followed by the acquisition of chemistry that hopefully...
Look at all this money that I spent on this, man. All during COVID. All during the pandemic.
And I still suck. I'm just a lot broker, and I now go through frequent grain withdrawals.
Prints are available.
I can't bring myself to throw anything away. So I have boxes like these filled with film waste. I don't know what I'm saving it for, but it finally got some use today. Ironically, for a phone photo.
Yeah, I was just messing around, and I was trying to find something to shoot for T.T.S.L.A.P.P, and I just was looking through everything, trying to find something, because this is around the time that it started getting really cold, because it's real winter here now in Wisconsin. So I wasn't able to go outside as much, and like I said, I'm a hermit, so the opportunities to photograph interesting things in the outdoors went from slim to none with the temperatures changing. And so I was just looking through old things, and I was like, okay, what can I do with this box of film? Because I had shot something. Quick aside, a couple months ago, I started uploading stuff to Unsplash and Pexels, which I need to make a video about. And I shot some B-roll with film, and they actually are doing quite well on those free stock sites. And so I decided to try riffing off of it with my phone, and they turned out kind of crazy. I think these are some of my favorite images. These, to me, look really nice. Kind of stock-like, but who cares? It's a cool photo.
It's day 44 of trying to suck less at phone photography. And I went digging through my old camera bag the other day and found this blast from the past.
By the other day, I meant like a month ago.
In the mid-2010s, you'll know this as the Brandon Wolfel Starter Kit. As a young, impressionable photographer in high school, I used this cheap acrylic prism for every portrait I shot until the orange and teal look became...
I'm easily peer pressured.
If you have no idea what I'm talking about, there was a time not too long ago where seemingly every portrait had to have some combination of fairy lights, neon signs, and or these pseudo-psychedelic flare things that you get when you hold a prism up to your camera lens. Despite it being a fad...
This is really true, though, and I would really like to hear from anybody, any photogs in the crowd, or if you were just on Tumblr or Instagram in that mid-2010s era. I remember it, like, distinctly. Every time you would go on Instagram, Brandon Wolfel was on there. And I don't know, maybe it's just because I followed the dude. And looking back, it makes it sound like I'm making fun of Brandon Wolfel. I'm not. I actually am a big fan of his work. And I haven't followed him in a few years,
but because of this video, because I thought about it using the prism, I went back and revisited some of his newer work and some of his older work. And yeah, some of that older stuff is it became kind of memey just as far as like the aesthetic went, but I still think it's cool. And I look back at that time very fondly. And his new work is like really good. He is still killing it. I would love to be Brandon Wolfel, so no disrespect toward him at all. Just wanted to make sure that y'all knew I'm not making fun of the dude. But yeah, I don't know if I remember this time differently than other people, or because it was my personal experience, I'm like extrapolating and assuming that's what it was for everybody. But yeah, mid 2010s, I just remember that Brandon Wolfel aesthetic. It was so distinct, and I remember it being so good, and I remember wanting to emulate it. And so I started shooting prisms with all the portraits I did. Every senior portrait for real was shot with that cheap acrylic prism that I have right here, actually. This whole thing. It was such a craze. I just remember every photographer trying to riff off of that aesthetic, that orange and teal kind of dreamy look. Looking back, yeah, it's a little weird, but it was cool. And I have very fond memories of it. Like I said, it's only love for Brandon Wolfel. You should check out his new work if you haven't seen it in a while. He's elevated. His style looks so good. But let's continue.
I still think it looks pretty cool. The effect is better with a glass prism, but even with my cheap one, you can come up with some really fun shots. I low-key kind of miss this aesthetic. Sure, it was pretty strange in hindsight, but it makes me nostalgic for those simpler times, which is kind of what that whole fad was attempting to capture. It's day 4.
So it was originally in the script, but I ran out of time to put it in. What I meant by that, I really do think that what Brandon Wolfel's aesthetic back then, I think it was trying to capture this whimsicalness about that time. This is the thing about nostalgia. It's like rose-tinted glasses. It's not necessarily the time period you want to go back to. It's more of the people and who you were, right? Like I missed the days when I wasn't so stressed out about where my next gig would come from, because back then I was in high school. It didn't matter. Like I was doing it for fun with my friend, and it didn't matter if we got paid frickin' $20 each to do a shoot that took 2 hours, because it didn't matter. Finances weren't a problem. The biggest issue was if our crushes noticed us, or what the college situation was like, what we'd score on our ACT. And so I feel like that aesthetic was trying to capture that feeling. It was trying to capture nostalgia and how fleeting it was and how ethereal that feeling is. Nostalgia. Like when you look back, it's unrealistic and it's otherworldly in a way. And I think that's what that aesthetic was. It was ethereal, otherworldly. The tones weren't true to life. There was a certain magic to it, a certain, I don't know. This is not a Brandon Wolfel critique, but that's why I love that aesthetic so much. And that's why it holds such a fond place in my heart, in my memory, because it represents a time that I can't go back to and a time that I made a lot of good memories in. But like you heard in an earlier T.T.S.L.A.P.P, nostalgia is a dastardly feeling, and it's kind of an illusion. So let's continue on.
45 of trying to suck less at phone photography, and this is my snoot. In addition to having a funny
Where's my snoot? My snoot's like over there.
Piece of gear. I use it to film a lot of these videos.
Fun fact, I almost electrocuted myself
on video light like so,
doing something stupid with my snoot. For T.T.S.L.A.P.P.
The light just kind of spills everywhere, which I guess works if you're going for that.
I bought that Gundam model for like $1.
But today I saw an opportunity amidst the searing whiteness.
That light is right there, actually.
Convoluted backstory to today's photograph. It's giving some strong
This is such a cool shot.
But let me know what you think, and I'll catch you on the flip side.
Welcome to the Twilight Zone.
I'm trying to suck less at phone photography, and welcome to the power of diffraction.
This was such a cool opening.
Through most of my physics classes, so I won't pretend like I completely understand what's going on here. All I know is I bought this piece of diffraction grating years ago for 60 cents at a local science shop, and any light that
I bought this at American Science and Surplus. If you're local to Milwaukee, you know it. I feel like everybody knows American Science and Surplus. It's such a cool store. And I think they still sell this. They should. I checked online. You can literally buy these for like 50, 60 cents still. And they're really cool. I still have mine. I think it's up there somewhere on my bookshelf.
Passes through it, gets separated into the different wavelengths that said light source is made up of. I remember using it in the store and thinking I was on to the next big photo trend. Unfortunately, this piece is way too small to use with a proper camera, so it's been collecting dust on my shelf. But now that I'm taking more photos with my phone, it's finally getting the love it deserves. I spent the last 2 hours going around my house shooting different lights with it, and I have to say, science is pretty.
You should see the way that it looks on a Christmas tree.
Every light source. And
it's
so far,
crazy.
My favorite results have come from this RGB light strip in my room. It reminds me of the light.
It's like DNA.
I
like
first
that.
Getting into photography. Let me know what you think, and I'll catch you later.
It's day 47. Those were easily some of my favorite shots. And it was the one T.T.S.L.A.P.P where I felt super confident that it would perform as well, if not better, than the other T.T.S.L.A.P.s, at least in the algorithm. And I was right. It just has that strong opening. I think the problem with a lot of these T.T.S.L.A.P.s is a lot of it is dependent on storytelling. And to be honest, I think the numbers say that most people only watch about the first 10 to 15 seconds of these T.T.S.L.A.P.s before they swipe on to the next story, or the next, not story, the next short. And I get it, because the visuals aren't super strong. In the photography lane, there are people who are photographing stuff in Hawaii, or some exotic location. And T.T.S.L.A.P.P visually can't keep up with that. And so somewhere later on, I just decided, hey, I like to tell stories, and hopefully it finds its audience. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I can't compete with people photographing, crazy things and beautiful vistas. I can't compete with that strong visual. So I have to do what I know how to do, and that's tell a story. Tell stories that are unique to me. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. What can you do?
Of trying to suck less at phone photography. And today's photo makes my head hurt. You see, this is my pop filter. It's supposed to take the power out of my plentiful plosives, and I use it to record all the audio for this series, including the audio you're hearing now.
It looks so
when
greasy.
light passes through it, the super interesting wavy pattern appears in the mesh. I don't know why it's happening or what to call it, but if you have any ideas, I'd like to hear them in the comments. I spent a few minutes shooting it, which wasn't all that difficult. The part that
green on green on green.
The edit. I think it's a cool photo, but having to stare at it for more than 5 minutes makes my head start to spin. It was also really hard to tell if my edits were actually doing anything, so I had to keep squinting at the screen, which didn't help.
For real, I'm not kidding. When I was editing this photo on my phone, my head started to hurt because I could not tell if anything I was doing was changing anything. So I think about the only thing I did was convert it to black and white and maybe up the contrast a little bit. But for real, I was going back and forth for 30 minutes with the sliders, trying to see if anything would do anything. And I couldn't tell. I still can't tell if my edits did anything.
I'm happy with how it turned out though. It's abstract with a nice sense of movement. I think it looks like a shadow, but let me know what you see. And I'll catch you later. It's day 48 of trying to suck less at phone photography, and sometimes my favorite part about getting packages isn't getting the thing I ordered, but rather getting to play with the bubble wrap the thing I ordered came in.
I really threw that lens.
I always have fun popping these bubbles.
Two things. So the lens that I threw, I shouldn't have thrown. It didn't break or anything, but it's a Nikon macro lens for the SLRs, so the F mount, I think. I bought it a couple months ago, trying to do some weird mirrorless camera film scanning setup that did not work. But I use that lens sometimes for macro shots. It's been used for a few videos. No T.T.S.L.A.P.P videos. Some of my cringy poetry ones you can go back and watch. It's a cool lens. Should not have thrown it. I'm really reckless with my gear. But yeah, this ASMR break was kind of funny. This has always been on my bucket list. I don't know why. I don't watch ASMR content. I think it's cool. No disrespect to anyone who does ASMR, but I've always been kind of shy. I always felt like people might judge me if I did ASMR content. I think it's cool though. I don't personally watch it. It doesn't really do anything for me, but I've always wanted to try making it, and I think this is about the closest I'll ever get. I for real was struggling to pop these bubbles. I'm so weak.
One of my stranger bucket list items. You see, I've always wanted to try my hand at ASMR, and I think this is as close as I'll ever get to an autonomous sensory meridian response. But I'm a photographer,
I had to Google
not
that.
an ASMR-er. So let's get back to sucking less at phone photography, shall we? Today's photo is pretty simple. I placed a sheet of bubble wrap on my jerry-rigged light table, shot straight down, and it's pretty much what you'd expect. It's a photo of bubble wrap. Instantly recognizable, and yet surprisingly abstract. I like it, but let me know what you think, and I'll catch you later. It's day 49 of trying to suck less at phone photography, and I used to love watching the Power Rangers as a kid. The OG Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, not the newer dinosaur samurai stuff. I have no idea what that's all about, but my cousin grew up in that generation, and at some point when he moved overseas, I ended up with his Red Ranger mask. He says I stole it. I say I was just keeping it safe for him. I saw it today and
I'll say what I was going to say in a minute.
Thought of a cringy attempt at pop art I made back in high school.
Okay, so 3 things now. Apparently I was lying about not using copyrighted content. I need to stop doing that. I want to move away from that. I made a bigger push toward the latter half of this year, but yeah, definitely in 2024 and moving forward, I don't want to rely on as much copyrighted content. I want to avoid the headache and I want to avoid any issues moving forward, even if it is fair use. 2, the Red Ranger mask. Yeah, it's been hanging up in my little space in the basement for last couple of years. And my cousin saw it, I think, when he was here. The Jungkook looking cousin from one of the earliest T.T.S.L.A.P.P s, and he swears that I stole it. But from what I remember, and my memory's not too bad, he was born here and then he moved back home for a couple of years. I guess not back home, but he moved to Cambodia for the first time to go to school there and live with his family over there. And I don't know, during one of his trips, I think back and forth or something, he had bought the mask. I think it was maybe a Halloween costume or just a toy. And I think in the process of moving, I think they were throwing stuff out, and they were storing stuff in our house when we lived at the old house. And I think he left it here. So I just kind of took it because I thought it was cool. Yes, I don't think that's stealing. It was just there in our house. And, he left it here for a couple of years. So I don't know. I wouldn't consider that stealing. I would just say, like, it was there in my house and I've just been holding on to it. Well, that's neither here nor there. Look at this atrocity. So I went to a IB high school, if you know, you know. And I was in the, I think the highest level class for art. And senior year was the year that we could kind of specialize in whatever medium we wanted. And we just had to make a certain amount of pieces. And this was one of the pieces I submitted. And I think this was my senior portrait, or my senior portrait looked very similar to this because I think I shot it on the same day. Yeah, back then I thought this was fire. I need to dig up the rationale behind it because we used to have to kind of justify and explain why we made our pieces and what it was inspired by. I think this one is clearly pop art inspired. I was trying to knock off Warhol. And I think I'm not sure which album it was, but I think one of Post Malone's albums has a cover that's similar to this, or I was riffing off of it. It's been a long time since I've listened to a Post Malone album, but I think that was part of the inspiration for this. There was some artist. I thought this was fire back in the day. I was so excited on gallery night to show it. Looking back, there's a reason I'm not a model, man. There's a reason I'm behind the camera, like this confidence. I don't know what happened to it, man. Like this steez, this style, this confidence. I don't know, man. I don't know what happened to it. Like it's gone. It is gone. Like I hate being in front of a camera now. I can't even take a good self-portrait anymore, but it's cool, but it's definitely narcissistic. I was definitely full of myself. It's cool to know that at one point I had confidence. Continuing on, I decided to revisit this concept for today's photo, and after a few hours of playing around with colored gels, I present to you a proof of concept. I cheated and assembled it in Photoshop, and I think it's okay. It's a start, but it feels a bit flat. I messed around some more and came up with this concept that I like a lot more. Yeah, it doesn't match up perfectly because I didn't use a tripod, but I think that adds to the character of this one. Let me know what you think. So, you could argue that I put way too much work into this one, but this is one of my favorite photos that I've made throughout the T.T.S.L.A.P.P series. It just looks cool. I mean, I don't know. This is what I love working on. And this is moving into 2024 and moving forward with the series. This is kind of what I want to do more of. Maybe not necessarily manipulating stuff in Photoshop because that takes a long time, but I want to work on things that I'm genuinely proud of. Because, I mean, it took like maybe 2 hours to mock up all this stuff and shoot it, but it didn't feel like it because I enjoyed doing it. And that's what I love about the creative process. The creative process, when it's just flying by and you're enjoying it, even if it's a lot of work, that's the most rewarding stuff. Even though this is not going to end up anywhere. It's a nice, maybe little portfolio piece, and I thought it was really cool. I really enjoyed it. It was an homage to a show that was pretty pivotal to my youth. Me and my sister used to check out the OG Mighty Morphin Power Rangers VHSs from the library. We used to watch them all the time, and it's nice to be able to revisit stuff like that, even if it isn't the most perfect of photos. And I'll catch you later. It's day 50 of trying to suck less at phones.
Oh, we're at day 50 already.
We made it halfway through this challenge. To celebrate, I thought I'd brave the cold to capture some of that Christmas spirit. At least, that's how I would think if I wasn't such a hermit during the holidays.
It's true.
To be honest, I only left
I'm like Ebenezer Scrooge.
Didn't want to see the lights alone. I took my camera with me, but I ended up just enjoying the festivities. Being out there reminded me that the best memories are often captured without a camera.
Very true, very true.
With 0 photos and an idea. An idea that involves me putting up this fake Christmas tree at 3 in the morning, taking a second to admire my work, shooting it, showing you the photo that looks nothing like you thought.
Yeah, I really did put up an entire tree just for this T.T.S.L.A.P.P at 3 in the morning. You do what you got to do for the content, man. I mean, the tree needed to go up anyway, so it's just a few extra steps filming it. The hardest part is just spreading out all the, not the thistles, the
the branches, because that stuff is so scratchy. I swear it like exfoliated my skin and like rubbed off the top layer of my skin. I knew this was going to be a holiday special because it was the 50th episode and it was going to be like the send off for the year. And I was really thinking about, because my dad wanted to go shoot the Christmas lights, and so I was like, oh, this is the perfect time. But when I was out there, it's just like, I was just playing Pokemon Go most of the time, and I was just enjoying the lights. I got a little bit of B-roll here and there, but there was nothing that stood out to me as like a photo. There was nothing that drew me to it. It was just like, oh, this is pretty. I want to just enjoy this. And that feeling and that line that, you know, sometimes the best memories are captured without a camera, I think that's really true. And it's something that my bosses and my friends have said to me throughout the years, like, sometimes you got to know when to put the camera down. That's why I thought episode 50 and making it a holiday special, that's why I thought I should just put the camera down for a while. Not only refresh, re-energize, and recoup, I don't know what other the re-words, but just take a break and be with family and be present, not just shooting stuff, not shooting B-roll, not trying to take pictures of everything. That's what inspired me and prompted me to consider taking a break and to step away from T.T.S.L.A.P.P. for the remainder of the year. And also, this photo was tricky. I was thinking of just going for like a standard tree photo, but it was too dark and the house is a bit messy right now, so it didn't look right. It wasn't a photo I would have been happy publishing, especially not for the 50th episode of T.T.S.L.A.P.P. It was too monumental. So I had to dig in my bag a little bit. I even downloaded the Open Camera app because I needed something that would give me a little bit more control. For some reason, I can't find how to control the shutter speed on my Pixel 7a, which is probably one of the most frustrating things about it because it is such a capable camera, but I can't, no matter what app I download, I can't control the frickin' shutter speed, which would have made the shot so much easier. But anyway, I use the Open Camera app and I'm just standing in front of the tree at like 4 or 5 in the morning and I'm trying to force it to do a long exposure, anything. And so I kid you not, I'm standing there like this. And that's how you end up with this photo. I should have recorded myself shooting it because it looked frickin' ridiculous. And my arm hurt quite a bit after that. But I kind of like this photo. It's something I would have made when I was younger, and it's got a certain abstractness, but you can still tell it's a Christmas tree. And I think if you really want to, you can read into it and make it deeper than it actually is. But yeah, I thought this was a fitting way to commemorate the 50th episode of T.T.S.L.A.P.P. because it speaks to the ingenuity and the level of creativity that I've had to constantly push myself to reach. I could have never imagined making a photo like this when I first started T.T.S.L.A.P.P., but this kind of incorporates kind of all the lessons I've learned over the past couple of months. With phone photography, sometimes you have to think outside the box, and sometimes you have to find weird ways to make certain effects happen. So it just felt fitting. Maybe it's a bit underwhelming for some, but I like it.
Thought it would. And finally, thanking you for sticking around. Serious.
Aw,
Thank you.
how
And
sweet.
a big shout out to all the people who've been following me on this journey. Now, I'm going to take a break to spend time with family and work on some longer videos. It's been a hell of a year. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Fun fact, that audio is dubbed over. So I recorded the audio live when I filmed it, but the audio was so scuffed. I think the mic was too far, it was too noisy. I couldn't clean it up to save my life. So I ended up just dubbing over it, which is why at some points the words don't quite match up if you go back and watch it. Dang, we reached the end. That was 50 episodes of trying to suck less at phone photography. T.T.S.L.A.P.P. for short. I don't know what to say. Like I said, it just feels weird being here, saying that I've done 50 episodes and I'm halfway through. I don't know. I'm not about to cry or anything. It's not an emotional thing. It's more just, I feel accomplished, but I also feel a sense of hunger. Like I'm ready to get back to it. I want to build on this because I feel like I'm starting to hit my stride. I'm starting to figure out just what I want T.T.S.L.A.P.P. to be. Like I said, it isn't going to appeal to everybody. It just can't. But I think I'm slowly starting to carve out a niche for myself. And I think, you know, the script writing has gotten better. It's definitely evolved. T.T.S.L.A.P.P. is nothing like it started as. In the beginning, me kind of showing my face more, you know, there are more obvious changes like that, but there are also more subtle things. Like in the beginning, I feel like I was trying to angle it as here are photography tips, or here's what I think when I'm shooting these photos, which there's a little bit of that in the later ones, but it shifted more toward what I really like to do, which is telling the story behind a photo. I don't really find the technical side of the photography to be all that interesting because it's pretty simple stuff. But if you are interested, leave a comment and I can break down some edits, or I can break down the technical side of things. I'm not a very technical guy, but what I found that I really enjoy with T.T.S.L.A.P.P is telling the story behind these images and sharing more of my life online and not being afraid about it. In years past, I feel like I've always been pretty reserved about the parts of myself that I share online, but now that I've done it almost every day for 50 days, I find there's something cathartic about it. But you'll notice, I think I started sometime in September 8th, around that time. There should be more than 50 episodes of T.T.S.L.A.P.P if I truly recorded one every single day. But of course there's not. And the reason for that is some days I just couldn't. Some days I didn't have the motivation. Some days I just had some rough days. And sometimes it was multiple days. To make it better, I switched maybe a month or two ago to more of just like a 5-day-a-week schedule, Monday through Friday. Take the weekend off, recharge, or try to schedule some in advance. The problem is I jumped into this project not really knowing what to expect and not having a plan. And there's a reason why social media managers and whatever have content calendars where they schedule stuff months in advance. Because it's not really feasible to create a piece of content like this every single day, because to shoot it, to find something to shoot it, to edit it, and then document doing all these things, it takes a lot of time. If I'm being honest, it probably takes me 1 to 2 hours to get these videos done, sometimes even half a day, which works on this weird schedule that I'm on just because freelancing and looking for jobs. So, I thankfully have time, but I'm shifting gears in 2024. Going to continue freelancing, but I really do want to land just like a steady job. I'm reaching that point in my life where it's kind of now or never. I need to change things up. I don't think the way I'm currently going about life is sustainable, and it's not the way I want to be living life. So I'll continue making T.T.S.L.A.P.P, but I'm going to take this break to schedule stuff out and make sure that I'm not stressing heading into 2024, and to give me time to do things that are long overdue. That being said, I think I've gotten a little bit better at phone photography, and I think it shows in the photos. But let me know what you think, and I really hope you enjoyed. If this is your first time seeing T.T.S.L.A.P.P, or you were there from episode 1, a sincere thank you. This truly is a labor of love. And yeah, there have been some negative comments, but the positive feedback has far outweighed it all. And I'm eternally grateful. I'm so grateful for anyone who's tuned in, and especially the people who have decided to stick with me, who have subscribed. It means a lot to me. And I just want to let you know I'm very appreciative of you, and your viewership. Your support is the best Christmas present a poor broke photographer like me could ever ask for. And to reward you for your loyalty and your time, if you use the code on screen now, you'll be able to take 20% off most, if not all, prints on my print shop. I don't have any prints from T.T.S.L.A.P.P on there yet because I'm not quite sure what the quality will look like with a phone print. That might happen in the future, but if you go there, or if you follow me on my Instagram, you can see the work that I normally do. So a lot of travel stuff and a lot more documentary style stuff. So yeah, follow me on my socials, subscribe if you haven't already, and keep an eye out for new content. Should be some stuff dropping before 2024, and a lot more stuff in the new year. Appreciate it if you stick around. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Peace.